It's about that time of day again here, boys and girls. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. Today is August 13th, 2014, the 13th day of the 8th month of the year 2014. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. My name is Joseph James, broadcasting live from our corporate headquarters in a very sunny August afternoon here in Los Angeles, California. Hope you guys are having a great third week of the month of OPEX, right? Or the month of August. It is an OPEX week here. A lot of stuff to cover tonight in our jam-packed newsletter here today. We'll talk about what happened in the markets today. We'll talk about what's in the schedule for tomorrow. And you know I always save the best for last, kids. At the end of the call tonight, we'll be talking about our 3 strategies on each of the gold, Russell, and crude. We'll go over up, down, and sideways. By the end of tonight's newsletter, you will know exactly what happened today, so you can brag to all your buddies. You'll know exactly what's on the schedule for Thursday, the Thursday of OPEX tomorrow morning. And you'll, of course, be ready to capitalize on whether these markets go up, down, sideways, or wherever they can possibly go on Thursday morning. Now, before I jump into it here, I do want to let you guys know here, this month, the month of August, I've been scheduling all of my meetings that I've got to go to around this great world of ours. I'll be traveling here a little bit this week, back and forth, in and out of attorney meetings and client meetings and this, that, and the other meetings. So last night's newsletter didn't get done. This will be my last newsletter of the week this week. So Thursday night's newsletter, I'm going to do my best to get it out tomorrow night, but I don't think we're going to have a newsletter for Thursday. Now, just remember, as a student at School of Trade, you know exactly how I find all this information, and I go over it with you real time in our trade room. So if you're not a member, I always hate to leave our non-members hanging out there without a newsletter for you guys tomorrow. But unfortunately, though, the third week of the month of August is notorious for being one of the worst weeks of the year, right? OPEX week, August being a summertime month. And of course, that all kind of leads together into that self-fulfilling prophecy of lower volume, right? So seeing lower volume this week, but again, I want to make sure I start out right away by saying I'm sorry, but of course, last night's newsletter didn't happen, and tomorrow night, our newsletter will also most likely not go out tomorrow night either. So tonight will be the last newsletter of the third week of August. Again, if you're a member of mine here at School of Trade, just come out and see me tomorrow morning in our live trade room, and we'll do all of this stuff together Monday through Friday. If you're not a member, well, obviously I hate to leave you guys hanging out here, but my next newsletter will be on Monday evening, the 18th. All right, guys? So just going to miss Thursday, and of course, I don't do them on Fridays. So Monday, August 18th will be the next newsletter, and then I'm done with meetings until Christmas. All right, so I'll be out of the woods for the meetings here until Christmas time. So you'll be getting me every night of the week here, starting next Monday evening. All right, so let's jump right into it here tonight. We've got 3 important things to talk about. But before we go into that, I've got some special stuff over here, guys, over at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're not watching this video right now on our blog, make sure you follow the link below the video on our YouTube page for 3 specific reasons. Reason number 1. Below the video tonight on the blog here at Sideways Markets, there's a link here to download all of today's charts. You can also get all of my bonus charts, right? So all the longer term anchor charts, what I've done is I've zoomed all the way out, giving you a bunch of different looks at it. That way you can replicate those levels on your charts, all right? So first things first, head over to the blog at Sideways Markets and download a copy of today's charts. Second thing here, upper left-hand corner. You might be wondering, how do we profit from all this information in our trade room? Well, I'm glad you asked. I have a special free pass for anyone who's not a member of School of Trade already and would like to learn more about how we apply these levels we're giving you here, right, to our live trade room in real time. So come out and join me, get a free pass to attend our live trade room anytime this week or next. Last but not least, right above my ugly mug, you'll see a spot there for your name and your email address. Go ahead and register for our nightly newsletter mailing list. That way, every evening, you get an email from me when we're ready to send out our nightly newsletter. No more waiting around for me to publish the blog. You'll get an invite in your email box. Come out and watch tonight's newsletter. So 3 things on the blog here tonight. 1, download all those charts. 2, grab a free pass to our trade room. And 3, register for that nightly newsletter. All right, let's get started here, boys and girls. What happened today? Boy, well, those summertime doldrums, they're in full swing. I've been talking about this for the last week or so, right? We get into the month of August. What happens in the month of August? Well, remember, not much air conditioning in Europe. It's notorious for being a European holiday the entire month of August. Here in the U.S., right, we, of course, take that and run with it, right? We get the third week of the month this week. In the U.S., most schools open back up the 25th. So we've only got a few more weeks left of this summertime, and so it feels like this week, that third week of the month of August, it feels like here in the U.S. we have also taken the liberty of taking the week off. Very low volume. I shouldn't say very low volume, but trading volume today was 10% below the 3-month averages. So summertime slowdown definitely hitting its stride right now. And of course, we know this is the third week of August, which gives people even more reasons, right, to grab a beach chair instead of grabbing their laptop. What happened today? Geopolitical news today. It's just so funny how this happens, right? The crisis, right, hits the news waves. Everybody freaks out, right? It's different this time. It's the end of the world. What are we going to do? Oh, come on, right? Oh, sure enough, 10 days later, what crisis? What geopolitical news, right? It almost makes you forget the fact that they actually shot down a full passenger airliner with a few hundred people, right? Bless their souls, perished. What a horrible tragedy. It's almost like everybody forgot about it. There's now de-escalation between this violence in the Middle East, right? Ceasefire expired today between Gaza and the Israelis. That has been extended 5 more days, right? So peace, well, I guess as much as we want to call it peace, right? There hasn't been peace in 30 years in the Middle East. But the reality is, though, is that the ceasefire was extended for another week. Right? We have the de-escalation of violence between Russia and Ukraine. Kind of a funny story out today. The Russians tried to send in a humanitarian aid, and pretty much everybody shot that down. It's like, really? Really? Do you really think we're going to fall for that right now? But hey, right now, everybody's trying to take the old democratic route here, trying to take the whole negotiation. People are backing off their guns. So are we surprised? I mean, really, folks, are we surprised? If you've been listening to this newsletter since January of this year, we've heard of all these shenanigans out of Russia, right? They apparently love playing the bad boy, or they love playing the bad guy in these movies these days. And every time we see this escalation of violence, it just, surprisingly, goes away. I wonder what's happening out there. Like I've been saying all year, stop reading the newspaper and read your charts. So geopolitical, what geopolitical, right? It's pretty much a has-been at this point. Volumes were low. One thing that happened today, though, is we saw a very, very soft retail sales number come out today in the U.S. It was the worst retail report in the last 6 months. So it's been a pretty long run of some very bullish retail sales. The experts out there, which of course is a questionable description, the experts out there are saying that, oh no, don't worry, the July retail sales came in soft because the June numbers were so strong. Well, whatever you want to say about that, that was what got things moving this morning at 8:30. Right? So we did have some pretty good pricing today. Disappointing news in the U.S. Geopolitical violence de-escalating right now. Volumes are low. And today, how can we forget about this? Today was a wacky Wednesday, right? The Wednesday of OPEX. Don't forget, you get OPEX Friday on Friday morning, right? We'll talk more about our schedule here. In fact, let me make sure I get that up here ready for us here. We'll talk more about our news schedule as well as OPEX in just a few moments. Starting first here, though, with my favorite of the equity indexes, the mighty mini Russell. And I warned you guys about this earlier this week, right? Monday morning, I talked about this in the trade room. We are really in a tough spot here right now on the Rusty. You can see we're stuck in between the long-term and short-term moving averages. We bounced off the lows. It looks like we're trying to make a run for it back to the highs, but as you can see, though, we get a couple roadblocks here before we can go fantasizing about new all-time highs again. All right, so the Russell really looking in a tough spot here on the daily chart right now. As we move forward with this, though, we begin to see this coming together here nicely now on the Russell. Now, let me back up a little bit, though. Let's go back to earlier this week. And earlier this week, I made a whole shindig, right? You know what a shindig is, of course. If you don't, ask your grandfather, right? So we made a big shindig over the earlier this week about the fact that we had most of these markets, right? Crude oil falls right in the same category here, that had gone lower in the last 2 weeks. And remember, we made enough money over that move lower on crude. I made my whole year on that move down on crude the last 2 weeks, right? You saw it. I gave you guys 3 days in a row over 100 tick moves. If you missed it, well, we'll be sure to catch up to you again sometime soon. Now what's happening is we're going sideways. Now crude is still going sideways, but the Russell, what did the Russell do? Russell jumped up. Remember, this is what we said on Monday night. We said anybody can put together a rally in some afternoon, but can we pull back? And rather than collapsing, do we now go higher? Because that's the difference now. That's where we are right now in the Russell. Right now in the Russell, we're right here. We're right there. And if you remember, my exact words were, show me you mean it, right? Show me you mean it here, buyers. Right? It's a little bit sleepy out there right now, right? Third week of the month. So right now the Russell has pushed up. And here we are now. I got some sell zones overhead, and we're starting to see, I don't want to predict right now, but my gut tells me, and remember, my gut's not a trading strategy. Okay, my gut is not a strategy, all right? We don't trade gut instincts here. I'm sorry, but that's not me. All right, I'm not that smart. I trade patterns, right? I'm a rule-based trader, which is great for you as a student because you don't need to have 30 years experience. You don't need to have that sixth sense, that gut feeling. My gut, though, right now tells me that we go a little bit sideways here on the Russell. We bought this Russell this morning, but it ran out of gas so fast before lunchtime. So if I had to guess right now, I would say we end up going a little bit sideways here before, later on this week, figuring out where we go from here. But again, that's just my gut right now. Right now, though, what we're seeing is this Russell's trying to go higher. And remember, this is a really, really big deal here because if these buyers can't keep this thing going higher, it's either going to collapse completely or it's going to give you that little wedge, right, which I just talked about in the little illustration, right? So here you go, right? You zoom all the way out, you can see it right here. You can see it. This is a classic example. This happens over and over and over again. We're going lower, we go sideways, right? For whatever reason, and I don't care why, they put together a rally on Monday, right, and they pull back. Now we have the big problem here. This is where the work's got to get done. The buyers have to keep this thing going higher. If they can't, we're going to end up just like crude, and we're going to be back trading sideways again, or possibly even worse. Because remember, the fundamentals that are affecting the Russell right now are all coming out of Europe. Europe is having a very, very difficult time with their economy right now. They've had horrible, lackluster news reports over the past 10 days. And so the Russell's trying to rally. The rest of the equities are trying to rally right now, but they're being dragged down by this kind of, kind of bummer we're seeing out of Europe, right? It's a little bit of a soft spot in Europe right now, and that's bringing everything down. So again, my gut tells me the Russell struggles here. And unless, of course, something happens overnight, unless we see some remarkable improvement in jobless claims tomorrow, I don't see it right now. Now, I'm going to talk about the news tomorrow. We get a bunch of news out of France, Germany, the EU tomorrow morning. We've got news out of Japan tonight. So we get a lot of news. We may see this personality change. Right now we're going higher, right? What's my trend? Bullish. What's my structure? Bullish, right? So we are definitely bullish right now. But third week of the month of August, with that European kind of dragging down, a soft spot in Europe right now, I've got sell zones here at 42.9, buy zones here below at 26.6. Again, I hate to be the party pooper right now, right? But I think we end up going sideways here. So here's what I'm going to do, right? Since you guys can see here, right, buy zones below, great targets for the shorts, right? No, not your pants, your shorts. Yeah, I know who you are out there making those jokes. I'm kidding with you. We have our sell zones here overhead, 42.9, 45.1, 49.1, 54.9, right? You get the point here. So what I'm looking at here is I'm going to be watching very closely here tomorrow, all right? If we go up, if we don't see those buyers grab hold, I'm looking for that short. Now, let's say scenario one. The news tomorrow morning out of Europe, 1 o'clock, 2 a.m., 5 a.m. Let's say that they pull out of this nosedive tomorrow in Europe. Where are we going? It'll catch on fire because remember, low volume. Low volume means, and the knife cuts both ways, low volume means while the cat's away, the mice will play. The buyers can easily take this thing up to a target at 67.6, possibly 79 even. I don't think it's going to happen all in tomorrow, but that's where we're headed to if these buyers take over. Right? If the buyers go on a run, you got to use these as targets, but our ultimate destination will most likely be up around that 67.6. Again, I don't expect that to happen the way it looks right now, but I've got to be ready for everything. Scenario two, what if price goes sideways? Right? If we don't get the fuel to the upside, you know what I'm looking at, right? Sell the highs, buy the lows, buy the lows. Okay? Third scenario. What if the news comes out really bearish in Europe tomorrow morning? What if we whoops and we collapse? If we collapse, you've got targets now. Targets at 26.6, 21.6, 14.5, 10.3. This little doozy of a trend line, right? And then of course you've got your 1103.3, which of course has already been on our radar for about a month now. Okay, so my gut tells me to go sideways, but again, you can see here on this 32 anchor right now, we got a target overhead here for you buyers, right, at 42.9, 45.1. And then tomorrow in my live trade room, make sure you guys come out and see me tomorrow in the trade room, and I'll walk you through everything I'm seeing here in real time. That's going to be a big deal right now, too, is that I'm trying to anticipate this almost 24 hours in advance right now, and because the volume is expected to be very low the rest of the week with OPEX Friday on Friday, with this being the third month of August, right, we know that the volume will be lower. So remember, when the volume's low, anything can happen, right? Somebody walks in the pit, drops a couple thousand contracts, this price goes wherever it wants, okay? So just be aware, low volume gives me the opportunity to really move quickly. All right, so I will keep you guys updated in real time tomorrow in the trade room. Here we are right now. What a disappointment. This move higher today, we were in this move today in the trade room today, right? We were buying this thing up because remember what I said yesterday or earlier this week? I said we're going to make this move lower. We went right to that level, right? Was that good enough for you guys, all you skeptics out there, right? Anybody can pick a bunch of levels in a chart, blah, 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 right? Well, okay, was that close enough for you? Yeah, I thought so, right? So we picked that level out of the sky, apparently, according to all the skeptics out there, right? You know who you are. But for the rest of you who've been watching this consistently over the past few years, you know exactly how well this stuff works. So we bounce off our buy zone at 26.4, right? And we start buying here today in the trade room. We made all of our money in the Russell buying this thing up. I have my target up here at 42.9, right? If you remember with me, you were with me today in the room. Our target's sitting here, and then all of a sudden, right, sleeping. It goes right to sleep. Trailed my stop, got taken out of the stop trailer, still made some great money on it, but at the end of the day, though, what a disappointment. We thought, all right, this is our move, buyers, right? Put on the big boy pants, let's go to 12. Maybe not. So again, the way the morning ended, the way the afternoon didn't even try again, right? The buyers got a foot long from Subway. They came back from lunch and they couldn't give it one more try. Nothing? All right. You tell me. So that's why I'm saying my gut right now tells me that we've already got the beach chairs, we got the suntan lotion, the barbecue grill's already warmed up for this weekend. I don't know if we go higher here. I got to come out tomorrow and take a look at the action when I see it in real time again. So right now, again, I gave you guys the three scenarios here on the Russell. We're going to be waiting tomorrow to see exactly what happens in real time. And if you want to, come out and join me in my trade room as a brand new member, and we'll walk you through it as well. Here's the gold. Now, on the gold, this funny yellow metal, guys, this is getting really old right now, gold. Can we get you moving here, please? Would somebody go down to the NYMEX pit and yell fire down there or something? Please get these traders pushing this thing. It definitely, now remember, gold is an easy way to put your finger on the pulse of the fear factor in this world. Supposedly, there's this big concern about the Middle East. Supposedly, there's a big concern about the slowdown in Europe. Supposedly, there's a bunch of crazy stuff happening right now, especially if you turn on the news stations these days. You go to Bloomberg, apparently the world's coming to an end. But apparently, the gold traders did not get that memo. All right. Apparently, they were too busy on their TPS reports, and they didn't check the headline news, right? As you can see here, apparently, gold's not freaking out. Gold doesn't care. Trust me, if this world was really in trouble right now, gold would be at 1,500 again. Don't you worry about that. This right here tells me gold's sitting in the middle of the range. Ain't no worries here, right? Ain't no worries in the gold market right now. I'm worried I might fall asleep just looking at this chart, though. It looks really, really quiet out there, though, on the daily chart right now on gold right in the middle. Now, another example. Here we are. Is this another Russell? Yeah, I know. I told you guys. There's a lot of these examples right now. We talked about this on Monday. What did we talk about earlier? Again, gold, same thing as the Russell, right? Gold going lower the past few weeks, right? We make some great money off that. We take a pit stop to go sideways, right? Profit taking off the shorts. Right? Buyers jump in and scoop up some discounted prices, and then all of a sudden what happens? Right? Bam, jump up. Same scenario, right? This could be the same chart as the Russell. Now the big question is, I'm not bullish until I get right here. Bingo. I'm not bullish until we get another higher high here. As I said on Monday, prove it to me. All right, buyers, you think you're in control? Prove it to us. Before I go commit to the upside here, this is just one big little push. I'm not taking this thing seriously at all right now. Now, think about the fundamentals on the gold right now. Again, gold is a fear market. It's a shelter market. The fundamentals on gold right now are not looking good for the buyers. Geopolitical fears are easing as of today. Right? Just wait for the next crisis hit the news wires. Who knows where this market will go in the future? But as of right now, though, geopolitical news, no fear there. The daily chart right in the middle of the range, right above that big round number of 1,300, right? That big round number of 1,300. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, big round number, psychological level. And here we are now, and now we see almost identical. Well, actually, this is what I would expect to see the Russell doing about 24 hours from now, right? So the Russell jumps up, pulls back, tries to go higher, right? This is about what I would expect to see from the Rusty this time tomorrow night, okay? So, again, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm assuming the Russell will do something similar here on the gold. So here we are. Now, if you look closely at this, I need to adjust this a little bit. If you look closely at this, what is that? That is a descending triangle. What is a descending triangle? A descending triangle has the same low, but a lower high, right? It's like a wedge, but with a significant bearish bias. We have one of these in the gold right now. This is it's not a very rare, but it's a relatively rare pattern, right? Very, relatively rare price action pattern. And so this tells us to sell these highs. So we definitely have a combination of fundamentals, right? The de-escalation of violence around the world, or as I say it, we just got through this fear-mongering out of the news media. There was never any real risk out there, right? I've been saying that for months now. But of course, the newspapers, they're going to sell advertising. You know what my feelings are on that. We have the fundamentals pushing it lower. The technicals now are confirming. The only thing we got to really be worried about right now is the fact that we got this thing in a very obvious range here. So try your best to stay away from the middle of the range while selling the high, right, on this way down. So what I can see here is I draw my trend line off these highs right now, and every time we go up, sell it. Up, sell it. If we go up to the highs, sell it. Up, sell it, right? So you get the point, right? So selling at the highs right now. This is a great example on gold right now where we have a fundamental overlay with technical clues. Fundamentals say bearish, technicals say bearish with a slight dash of neutrality, right? Slight dash of balanced personality because we're in the middle of that range on the daily chart. All right, now think about this again. What if price goes higher? What if it goes lower? What if it goes sideways? If it goes higher, you got it. We're selling those highs. Now remember, news comes out of nowhere, and because we're in those summertime slowdown, third week of August, we know this could take off to the upside. If we do take off to the upside and we don't get the reversal there at 1320 area, you know my plan, always the same. The high at 24.3, get above it, pull back, and use that as support. Do not buy this gold if it makes a higher high and then comes back into the range. All right? You don't want to be a donor like the rest of the rookies out there. All right? We call them market donors. You're not a trader. You're like, you know, instead of giving blood, you're giving money every day, right? So don't buy that as it goes higher and then comes back in because the rest of us are going to look for it to collapse and go short. Okay, so do not buy if it gets sucked back below that 24.3. So up, pull back, and in. There's my target now overhead. Now you get a plan if price goes higher. What if price goes sideways? We already know what the plan is if price goes sideways, right? I'm going to stay focused on the sell side, right? Because, of course, we got that fundamental and technical combination right now. I've got to sell at the highs. That'll be easy. I've got this trend line I can draw overhead, right? So price keeps going lower. We can keep selling that trend line, all right? And, of course, if we have anybody out there that likes to walk on the wild side a little bit, you can buy this low at 1305.7. So bottom line is, if we go sideways, buy lows, sell highs, and try your best here to stay away from this middle. If price goes lower, my plan will be the exact opposite as if it goes higher. If it goes lower, again, lower low, look for the retracement, and then look for the short. Do not donate money to the market if you see it go lower, come back in. That's not your short. All right, you're selling into the support level at 1305. Okay, so do not do that to yourself. You can if you want, right? I'll be there to take your money, but don't do it to your account. Right? You deserve better than that. Get below 1305.7. Wait for it to pull back. Use that 05.7 as your line in the sand. Okay, no entries above it to go short. Now targets below 13027. 97.5. I've got this 98.4 I snuck in there on you. I've got the trend line here, and we've got the 90.3, 85.9. Now you guys know where our levels are to the upside and to the downside there on the gold. And of course, as you keep going to a faster time frame here, you can see it's pretty much the same stuff here. Right? Pretty much the same stuff. I've added on another sell zone here at 1320.3, 1324.3. So that's another area now where you can sell short. As we go higher, I'm selling the range highs. I'm selling the triangle highs. I'm selling the resistance to highs here. As we go lower, I've got targets 13057, 1300, 1297.5, 95.6, and again that 90.3. So fundamentals tell me to go lower on gold. Technicals tell me I have a short-term neutral or balanced trend right now with a slight bearish tone to it, right? With that descending triangle, selling the highs, taking profit at the lows. As always, guys, if you want real-time updates, if you want exact trade calls on the gold, come out and see me tomorrow in the trade room. Moving forward here, from that funny yellow metal to the black gold, the Texas tea, my favorite futures market, crude oil futures. Now, as you can see here, boy, we weren't kidding here. Now, if you rewind the tape and you go back about 2 weeks ago, I talked about this scenario. What did I say 2 weeks ago? I said, we have a pretty big problem here on crude if nothing changes. First of all, fundamentally, what's happening on crude right now? Let's talk about what's happening on crude. Fundamentally, we have this love triangle right now between the Europe, the USD, I'm sorry, between the euro, the USD, right, and crude oil. What's happening is this slowdown in Europe is pushing the euro lower. By default, that pushes the dollar higher because the dollar is a basket of currencies with the majority of it made up of euro, which means there is no possible way the euro can go lower without the dollar going higher. It is what it is. Now, when we have more dollar buying power, what happens? When I have more money in my pocket, I can afford more stuff. When I can afford more of something, prices go lower because now the opposite of scarcity. We are now in abundance of crude. I'm swimming in crude oil futures right now, right? We got plenty of crude to go around. We know the dollar is rising. We've seen a ton of fundamentals right now. Okay, so euro under pressure, dollar index goes higher. This creates downward pressure on crude oil. That's one fundamental issue that is pushing crude lower. The second thing is this de-escalation of violence in the Middle East. We get another extension of the ceasefire in Israel. We have, and again, I should be laughing at this right now, but oh, surprise, surprise, there's no real disaster happening in Ukraine and Russia. I swear this is just to make for headlines right now in Russia and Ukraine. I swear Putin, Obama, and all the big TV networks are in together on this, right? I guarantee you they are, right? There's probably going to be a reality TV show with Obama, Putin. We'll bring the bear in there. It'll be topless Putin, right? Obama can bring his dog. That's a horrible idea for a reality TV show. But that's the only thing that makes sense right now. So all of this violence is just whoops-a-daisy, what violence? And this is all, again, giving us, well, if you're a buyer of crude right now, why the hell are you looking to buy right now? That's the problem. There is very little reason right now for a buyer to be buying on crude right now. That's the reality. So the fundamentals are pushing us lower. Now look at the technicals. The technicals here are giving us a run for our money. We've got 97 big round number. That's a sticking point. We got 97.12. This has been there for 6 months, for crying out loud, this major buy zone. We have a trend line at the low of this long-term bullish channel. Shall I keep going? This is an easy example. Guys, this trend line has been building since January. It's August. It's had plenty of time to get broken. So this is the reason why I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, crude's got some problems on its hands right now. Fundamentals are pushing us lower. Technicals are keeping us propped up. It makes me want to grab a red eye from LA to New York, go down to the NYMEX and say, can we hurry this up, please? Right? Either get short or get the heck out of the way, because that's what's going on right now. The buyers aren't buying. The low volume, though, in this summertime doldrum, the third week of the month, I haven't seen crude this pathetic, well, since last week, but it is pretty quiet right now on crude. We're seeing it hover right around that 97. So what is a professional trader supposed to do? I can't trade crude like, well, actually, maybe we can. In fact, if you took my advice the last few days, you've made a killing on this market. Don't take my word for it, kids. You can't listen to everything you see on YouTube, all right? Go back, watch the tape. Go back to my newsletter from Monday night. What did I say Monday night? Buy the lows, sell the highs, sideways range. I get a ton of great emails from non-members who made a killing this week, right? And last week, buying lows, selling highs, buying lows, selling highs. It's been very, very easy. What's the hardest part right now? The hardest part right now is staying patient. It really is. The hardest part about trading this time of year is a 4-letter word, a dirty 4-letter word, W-A-I-T, wait. That's the hardest part about being a crude trader right now. If you can't stay patient, grab the golf clubs instead of grabbing your charts. All right? Do not trade this if you don't have the patience gene in your DNA right now. Now, what we specialize in our trade room, and my members know this right now, we talked about this today, right? We were honing our skills this week so far on staying patient, and has it not produced some great results? It has. There is no reason why you cannot trade this action right now. action may not be the word, right? And more like a drama, right? Or one of those old black and white silent films, right? It's pretty quiet, but we know why it's quiet. So no excuses. If you choose to trade it, be patient, buy those lows, sell those highs. But here's something interesting. Here's something relatively interesting here. Now, again, I know, right? We got a wedge here. We can easily see we got a wedge. We're going to keep buying these lows. We're going to keep selling these highs. But again, those fundamentals on crude are screaming at us right now. The minute these buyers turn their head, we could just take off the downside. So what I'm looking at right now is I've got projections right now. I've got my 96.55. I've got 95.54. I've got 95.28, 94.38, and is that 93? That's 93.27. I'm telling you right now, guys, summertime driving season's coming to an end here real soon. Labor Day is the first week of September. Then the clocks get turned back in October, and whoops-a-daisy, here we are now. If this crude does not start going higher here, we could be seeing 90, 85, dare I say 75 on crude. I won't get ahead of myself right now, but we know that the summertime is usually when these prices spike, and it's not happening right now. If we don't get any more crises, right, hitting the news wires in the next few weeks, this price could keep tumbling here really fast. You know me, though, because we have low volume right now on crude, I am going to keep a very close eye on the price action over the next 2 days. I've got to give it to you real time tomorrow morning because, again, this can change really, really fast. If price keeps going sideways, we're buying lows, selling highs with a preference of selling the highs. As price goes higher, I've got areas to sell, 98.61, 99.09, 99.14, 100. Now, if we go to 100, the whole game changes. All right? You don't sell 100. It gets stuck at 100. If it gets to 100, you got to come see me tomorrow in the trade room, and we'll walk you through it in real time. As price goes lower, I'm going to be watching personality very closely as price goes lower. Because if it goes lower real fast, again, now remember, same thing applies here. If we're going sideways right now, you mark those highs, you mark those lows, and those are your line in the sand. When I go lower, I'm looking to get short without going back in that range. That's the key. Do not be the sucker that has to sell at the lows like this. Because you know what happens, right? If we go back into that range, this is when I take your money, right? That's when I take your money. So don't just make it so easy on us to take that money from you. Look to get a new lower low, and don't get short if you're inside that range. So that's going to be what I'm looking at for tomorrow. The low of that range at 96.55. So that's my line in the sand right now, right? Lower, wave short, right? We got 54, we got 28, and we got 38. All right, those are your levels to the downside, and I'll be giving you guys that information in real time tomorrow morning in my live trade room. Last but not least here, my 16 anchor chart here on the crude. Not much has changed. Not much has changed. Sideways range. We got some sell zones overhead, some buy zones below, but ultimately, though, the big numbers here are going to be buying those lows, selling those highs, but again, if we go lower, don't say I didn't warn you. 54, 95, 28. As you keep going lower, again, I gave you those levels off the 30, right, off the 32. So use those targets, the 32, and you can see the 16 here. We are still right inside that range right now. The hardest part of trading crude right now is staying the heck out of the middle. Wait patiently. I know it's tough. The last 3 days, we've only had a few opportunities, but every time we've dipped down here, look, bounce, 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 right? It works. You just got to be patient for it. Yesterday, we waited the whole entire morning just to see it happen early afternoon, right? If you gave up on it, you missed the money. It was easy money, right? It was really easy money. Because without a lot of people trading it right now, you can easily see the move happen. The pattern's easy. It's relatively easy, but the hardest part is staying away from the middle, sitting on hands, and then, of course, again, buying those lows, selling those highs, and if we do take off the downside, get below it, make sure your entry is precise, and 95.54, 95.28 is going to be some easy targets for you guys to downside. Alrighty? Now that you know the plan here for the day tomorrow, let's take a look here now at what our news looks like. Once again here, looking at the news worksheet, we can see right away we got major news tonight, 6:45 p.m., 7:50 p.m., be on the lookout for an active Asian session, and then we go right into the news here tomorrow morning. I've got the news from France at 1:30, Germany at 2 o'clock. I've got the EU at 5 a.m. That means right there, remember, all eyes have been on the EU, and they're really disappointing economic news over the past 2 weeks. So this may be the headline news tomorrow that we've been waiting for on crude oil. Remember, that love triangle on crude, right? I know, I can barely say it with a straight face. So we got news tomorrow, 1:30, 2 o'clock, and 5 a.m. And then as we zoom in here, that wasn't it. Oh, come on here. There we go. As we zoom in here, again, 1:30, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we've got this pathetic excuse of a Red Star news report and jobless claims, but that's our big news in the U.S. session tomorrow morning. In my humble opinion, tomorrow morning in the U.S. will most likely be nothing more than reacting to what started in Europe. It's going to start in Asia tonight with Japan. It's going to move to France, Germany, the EU. When we get here in the U.S. session tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, we will most likely be analyzing what happened in Europe and using those ranges as our levels tomorrow. As I keep reminding you guys, come out and see me tomorrow morning in the trade room, 8 a.m. Eastern time. We open things off, and we have had a stellar week of trading this third week of the month of August. But before I let you guys go, don't forget to share this information with a friend. Don't hog all the good stuff for yourself. And before you take off tonight, don't forget, guys, we have a free trial. That free trial will give you access to our live trade room. Come in and see our live trade room. You guys will have a great time learning with me about how we use these newsletter charts to make profit every day. Also, I've got 3 levels of membership, beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and we've got someone standing by here 24/7. And again, I promise you their English is very good, right? English is their first language, and they'd be happy to help you guys with more information. We celebrated our 10-year anniversary here at School of Trade. 10 years ago, we set sail to be the very best place to earn and learn on the internet, and we keep getting better every single trade of the day. My name is Joseph James, broadcasting live from our corporate headquarters here in Los Angeles, California. Thank you so much for being a part of our newsletter this week. I will not be here Thursday afternoon, so no newsletter for Thursday. We'll see you Monday, August 18th. Have a great summer weekend. Don't forget the helmet. Don't forget the SPF. You know that sun's going to kill you someday. And we'll see you guys next week here. Happy OPEX. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday, August 18th. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.